If the truth about the atrocities done to Hindus was accepted, there would also have been museums to educate people. If the destruction by the Turks and Arabs in India was properly taught in history, then Muslims would have become the protectors of the Hindus. There would have been a cordial relationship, and the world would have had a better understanding of Hindus. But leftist historians distorted that perspective. The Hindus provided shelter and protection to the persecuted Jews, but much of that evidence and history has been deliberately blurred. India's centers of learning and temples were destroyed. The Indian historians who wrote about those atrocities were called communal or radical nationalists. And the British historians who told the truth about the Muslim invasions were brushed aside as imperialists. Will Durant was neither communal nor an imperial Englishman. He was an American historian and philosopher. He was neither a friend or foe of India. He, with his wife Ariel, wrote stories of civilizations of the world in 11 volumes. He is one of those rare historians who is best placed to compare the history of India with that of other countries. He wrote that the Mohammedan conquest of India is probably the bloodiest story in history. From his words, we begin the ill-fated story of the destruction of India. The stories are so dreadful that some may be deeply disturbed. So we will narrate only the essence of that here. Will Durant wrote that the news of Indian cities and temples having boundless wealth of gold, diamonds, and gems spread across the world. Hordes of Scythians, Huns, Afghans, and Turks started hovering about India's boundaries and waiting for national weakness to let them in. For 400 years, 600 to 1000 AD, India invited conquests. And at last, it came. The invasions came in such a brutal way that there is no comparison of its cruelty in the world. Invaders demolished temples and idols, plundered wealth, burnt villages, cities, and fields, slaughtered men, abducted and sold women and children, burnt universities and libraries, massacred teachers and students. For centuries, India endured a storm of brutal massacres, horrifying rapes, abduction, and loot. Every cultural continuity is our shared memory. The invasions over thousands of years irreparably demolished many cultural continuities of India. Yoga is one of India's most ancient continuity. What an irony that yoga was valued and embraced by common Indians only after the success of asanas and pranayam in the Western world.
Why the subject which was given by sages, rishis to Indians were so much neglected? It was an alien subject to the very sons of the great sages of India, like the Mughals, then British, who invaded India. They were molesting, raping women, so they had to go to remote places. So we lost the connection. As we lost the connection, we lost the Samskriti.
At the time of Islamic invasions, Buddhism was prevalent in the northern frontier states. People were Buddha-parast, or worshippers, and made many idols of Buddha. Therefore, idolatry and Buddha-parast became synonyms. The word Buddha-parast became Buddh-parast. Buddhist monks became the first target of jihadis, since Islam believes in the destruction of idols. Renowned Buddhist scholar Rahul Sankrityayan writes, tonsured heads and maroon robes were the death warrants of the Buddha-parast bhikkhus. Within 1.5 centuries of the arrival of the Turks, Buddhism was wiped out of India. The assault of the Turks is the main reason for disappearance of Buddhism from India. Acharya Nagarjuna of Nalanda, Yogi Gorakhnath, and hundreds of literary references suggest that Indians knew about the technique of body rejuvenation. These kinds of secret knowledge were guarded and propagated only through the guru-disciple tradition. Islamic invaders destroyed the centers of learning, and human knowledge was pushed back by hundreds of years. Libraries burnt for several months. The Sharda Peeth of Kashmir, the most renowned university of the Hindus, was razed forever. Kashmir is the crown of India. When the crown was struck, cultural darkness threatened the rest of Indian land.